Welcome to another episode of the State of the Bulldogs. Sam, Mike, Jeb, and Grant. Mike and Grant tonight. Another loss for the football team. Volleyball did not fare that well either in our little tournament this weekend. And a lot of basketball news on the Wofford front, Auburn front. A lot going on. But first, guys, we got Furman coming up. So let's talk about the Western defeat, 50-35, giving up a casual 580 some odd yards through the air. Pretty tough. But Quincy did throw for a record 480, something like that. Offense showed signs of life. It was 21-20. We knew Western's defense was very poor coming into this game and that we had the potential to score some points. Didn't quite anticipate giving up so many points. I think that was a little bit of a surprise, but we knew Taryn was good, torched us last season, and kind of built on that momentum, if we're being honest. But Grant, Mike, reactions from the Western, not blowout, because we were in there for a half, but Western defeat.
We're a soccer school now. They got the win this past weekend. You mentioned Quincy, 35 for 53, 456 with 3 TDs. Again, the 456 was a career high for him. But then, the other side, you go for Dickens. Like, those are good numbers. But wait till you listen to Taryn Dickens, who I thought was going to be maybe a little bit rusty his first game back this year after his academic suspension. It's like, oh no, here's a casual 35 for 46 for 582 and 6 touchdowns per yards per dropback. Western Carolina had 9.8 yards per dropback, so basically almost a first down every passing play. Like it's insane the way it goes down. And Dickens was making every throwing it across the yard everywhere.
Oh, it's crazy. Receiving wise, I mean, listen to these numbers, because it's one thing watching it, it's another thing looking back at this. 107 yards for Kamari Reed, 62 was the long, and he only had 4 catches for 107 yards, 3 touchdowns. Dominic Dutton, 97 yards on 3 catches, 51 long. Michael Rawson, 90 yards on 3 catches, 64 long. Painter Richards Baker, 85 yards on 6 catches, so a little less efficient, barely, with a long of 20 and a touchdown. I mean, those are video game stats. I will say, and Hatcher talked about this after the game, it was nice that Calvin Jones, former team, right, got 108 yards, 7 catches, 3 touchdowns. He had an awesome game.
Yeah.
And so did Jaden Gibson. So not all bad, but as we were joking before, this is one of the worst defenses in the league. And while it's one of the better offenses now with Taryn, is there enough to give us hope for a win? And we'll get to that in a minute. But just wanted to kind of, that's still in the back of our minds. Are we going to find a win? I think the offense gives us hope that we can get a win because it finally showed real signs of life, albeit, as I said, against a very weak defense.
Yeah, Samford with their most explosive plays, 8 this past week, and Western at 10, 9 when passing. But yeah, just going down. It was good, like you said, to get Samford some run. On Western side, he went through the list of guys, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys had 63 receiving yards or more, and that's 6. And then the guy who had the 6 touchdown had 43 yards on 5 catches. But yeah, big day for Jaden Gibson. Samford actually completed the longest pass of the day, was that 47-yarder to Gibson, kind of their first deep ball where they kind of took a shot downfield and actually hit, right, which we haven't seen Samford even try over the first couple weeks. I knew they had to get back in the game. Calvin Jones, like you mentioned, 7 catches for 183 and 3 tuds, including 1 a pretty sick diving catch. We had to make the catch and then avoid the defender and the field goal post at the same time. Pretty cool diving catch. But yeah, Samford offensively was there to answer the bell. Basically, what we've seen Samford the whole time under Hatcher, right? The offense is there, but then the defense lets them down, and that showed up for Samford, even with the 1 turnover, which was a pass in the end zone by Quincy, but.
Yeah, defense could not stop a nosebleed. Offensive line also not that great, especially in the second half. Could never get the run game going. Haven't been able to get the run game going all season. C.J. Evans only getting 58 yards, 3.7 yards a carry. Did have a touchdown, but still, just not what you want. Gave up 4 sacks, not good. Several tackles for loss. I mean, it's like every snap the line of scrimmage gets reestablished if we're running the ball like half a yard back. And then if we're passing, we hopefully have 3 seconds. So that was kind of the more routine portion of our performance. I think the defense performed worse than I would have anticipated.
Yeah.
and then the offense as a whole performed much better. So
It even
uh,
had some semblance of a quarterback run game too. Quincy 18 carries. A lot of that was due to getting pressure in the backfield. He had to make some video game plays where said, "Let me roll to my right." Okay, there's no one there. Then spin back center. You're basically taking the analog playing EA college football and trying to find a way and hopefully there's circle finally goes the field. You throw it to him for a pass. That's basically what he had to do running for his life. So it was cool. Even though only 2.9 yards of clip, but it's good to actually get some semblance of a quarterback run game. 18 carries for 53 yards and gained 64, but obviously you throw the 4 sacks and that drops it down to 53 yards for Quincy
sure.
rushing.
Yeah, and we lost Mike. He was on right when we started. He's trying to get back on. Hopefully, here we go. Here we go. There he is.
Sorry about that.
No, you're good, dude.
And we're good. We got you covered.
Have y'all been
Uh,
waiting on me, or did you keep going?
no, we're rolling. We were
Okay,
talking.
good.
We were just talking about how the offense performed. We got a little bit of quarterback run game. Still have no running back run game. Defense gave up way too many yards, and then ran down the list of the Western receivers who had career days. But thoughts on the game, Mike?
Yeah, the rain delay really kind of threw me off.
That's
Lightning delay. I
long.
feel like every time we go to Western Carolina, there's some kind of delay.
Yes.
Didn't that happen 2 years ago?
Yeah, at
Yes.
least it wasn't during the game. Yeah, at least the game didn't start. Then we all know what happened. That whole game went downhill at the last rain out.
Yeah,
Rain
that's
delay.
true. But nice to see a shootout. I mean, that's kind of feels familiar from a few years ago. But otherwise, I mean, we talked about this beforehand. But are we going to win a game this year? Um,
It's tough.
it's cool that we put up 35 points, but when the other team puts up 50, it's kind of hard not to put up 35, right? You get so many chances, so hard to be impressed.
It is. Let me look up the SoCon football team stats because I do think this Western defense, along with ours, is two of the worst in the conference.
Yeah, and while you're doing that, I'll just run down the Samford schedule. Home for Furman this weekend, at Mercer, bye week, at VMI, Chattanooga at home, at Wofford, ETSU, which finishes your SoCon slate, and then you're at Austin P, and then you're in College Station against Texas A&M on November 22nd. So where are the wins coming?
I mean, I still
from
think
that group?
VMI and Wofford still give
Yeah, I think so too. Even though both on the road, but yeah, I don't trust them. Especially if this Stanford offense shows up in those games, they can win that one because VMI and Wofford are two of the worst offensive teams in the league.
Yep. Okay, so we are the bottom. Chattanooga. So all right, the only team with a good defense is Mercer at the moment, but they've played one less game. So who knows? Western 41.5 tied with us points per game given up. I don't know if this is through this past week. I think it is. Yeah, it is. So 41.5 points given up is terrible. Chattanooga's at 35.5. ETSU's at 35. VMI is at 33. Wofford is at 22.5. I keep throwing Wofford in with VMI. This might be a better Wofford team than we're giving them credit. And I know they've had some early success, at least in terms of competitive games that were slightly surprising, but they're still 0-4. So I just don't know in messy games like that where they lose to Mercer 22-21, Richmond 14-10, and South Carolina State 16-15. It's hard to tell if they have a really good defense and that putrid of an offense, or if it's just a bad team that kind of mucks everything up to begin with. So we'll see kind of as the season plays out. But that's still Wofford and VMI are still our best bets. So we'll see. We'll see. Chattanooga, look, they got blown out by Tarleton in the end. Competitive first quarter.
Tarleton might be legit.
Tarleton might win the national championship. So that game comes with a little bit of a grain of salt. ETSU looks very good, relatively speaking. The SoCon is pretty bad this year as a whole.
Yeah.
And then Mercer holding it up. And we'll get to Furman in a minute. But guys, you're right. Finding that win is tough. That's going to be the recurring theme each and every week until we finally do find that win. And if we don't, my gosh, that better have been Hatcher's final game. If we go 0-12, that is insanely poor.
Yeah, you had to think coming into the year because we had the struggle last year. It's got to be coming into the year. It was at minimum 500, right? You got obviously you thought the first two would be wins, then you're not even close to winning both of those due to big time mistakes. But for mainly mistakes in the Citadel game, West Georgia just got blown out in that one. Turns out West Georgia's a top 20 team. So yeah, you thought the kind of floor would kind of be 500. But yeah, 0-5, 0-4 right now. The first 0-4 start since 1985. Yeah, it's just as we keep saying, where are the wins?
Yeah, and it's not going to get much easier as we take on Furman. Furman's 2-1, wins against William and Mary and Campbell at Campbell last uh, 2 weeks ago, or yeah, 2 weeks ago on the 13th. 23-21 over William and Mary, and overtime 1 point loss to Presbyterian, the Blue Hose, 39-38. And then the 28-24 win at Campbell before they take on us. The few things to point out about this Furman squad is their quarterback Trey Haddon has a 73% completion percentage this year, 756 yards, only 4 touchdowns, and he has 2 picks. So not necessarily that high scoring, right? They only have 5 rushing touchdowns. So not a high scoring offense, but an effective one. This is kind of similar, I think, to Furman's. They're kind of getting back to Furman football where they played nice defense, a methodical but slow offense, right, to put the pressure on the opposing team. Um, but with a 73% percentage rate or completion percentage, that ain't going to get worse against us. So expect Furman to be able to move the ball pretty well. This could be, I mean, guys, look, if we can build on the offensive momentum, if we make it a shootout, this could be one of the wins. Not really one I was expecting, but the Furman team is not insanely impressive rushing wise. Gavin Hall's leading the way with 164 yards, nothing wild, averaging 3.5 yards a carry, especially nothing wild. So this offense is nothing like this Western offense we just faced. Um, so maybe the Furman game, we get our first win.
According to ESPN, tickets for this game as low as $66. Who's paying $66 to go to this game?
I think no
It
one.
is. It is family weekend, so maybe there's a parent out there that's like, "Hey, I really need to get my whole family to come see
Look,
see our daughter at school. This is the game."
With record enrollment year after year, there might be 4,000 people that want to go to this game.
I mean, for $10 more, you can get into Texas A&M. So
Hey, there you go.
Yeah, we don't care. Yeah, but
That's pretty
Texas,
good.
no. Yeah. Yeah, at least we do have a football game on family weekend, so there's a plus there. At least David
right.
can actually meet his quota for tickets this year rather than last year. Like,
yeah,
really not helping him out, not having the biggest attended game on the schedule,
On the
which we've talked
busiest day of campus.
exactly, which we've talked about. Then homecoming number 2, but yeah, does Samford only had 1 turnover against Western? That's a good sign compared
Yeah.
to the 45 we had leading up to that game. So Quincy took better care of the ball, even with all those attempts, those 56
Even with
attempts,
pressure too.
even with pressure running for his life. So can Samford limit those? And in the past, Samford's defense, while they've kind of given up yards between like the 20s and between the 20 to 20s, like inside the red zone, they've kind of been like red zone roulette. We'll let you score this time, then we'll stop you this time. Can they generate any kind of those stops and get missed field goals, turnovers, which is something that the Samford defense has prided themselves on in the last couple of years, but that hasn't been the case, and that wasn't the case at Western.
I think if we can get to 35 points again, we could beat Furman. But I'm not going to predict that because this team has shown 0 ounce of consistency. So, well, except having a pretty poor defense. So we'll see. But Furman does not pose nearly the threat offensively. I think one fun thing, Evan James, true freshman receiver for Furman, 291 yards on the year with 2 touchdowns. Pretty fun to have a true freshman as your leading receiver. Not necessarily a good sign, but it's fun. I think it's always fun when the young guys show out. So that's one name to watch. But yeah, this offense gives us hope. This opposing offense gives us hope that if we can finally get some semblance of the hatch attack rolling, we could get a win.
Yeah, Gibson and Calvin Jones are 2 big points to that too. And Torrey Ward, Samford's freshman, he's played well in the year. 13 catches for 160. He's had some good catches. Caught the CJ Evans a touchdown pass against Baylor. So he's the one Samford receiver with kind of that size at 6'3", 195 from Helena. So it's good to see him kind of coming on. Had 62 yards receiving against Baylor. It was the Calvin Jones show against Western, but look for kind of Torrey Ward to get some more looks.
Yeah. Before we get to the Wofford travesty and the Auburn surprise, I wanted to hit on volleyball and soccer. Volleyball had the Alabama Challenge, UAB, Auburn, South Alabama, all in Birmingham at home. We didn't do that great. We did all right. So we lost to South Alabama 2-3. Auburn we lost 1-3, but we did sweep UAB. actually switched over to the UAB volleyball match as we were getting blown out in the football game, and it was well worth the switch. Bruntmeyer won SoCon Setter of the Week again. I think that's the second, maybe third time she's won it this season. But we looked a whole lot better than UAB. I wish I could have seen the Auburn game just to kind of get a better feel for what our ceiling might be come conference play. But uh, the conference season is here. We start on the road against UNCG on Friday, and then we travel to Furman on Saturday. So, not gonna lie, didn't know that we traveled back-to-back days like that. I think that's a challenge. Like it feels like that would be a challenge. More so the Furman game, because the UNCG match is at 5 p.m. The Furman game is at 3 in the afternoon. So pretty tight turnaround going from Greensboro, North Carolina, down to Greenville. I guess we would go Friday night to Greenville, but
Yeah.
didn't think about that. That's going to be a little bit of a challenge. And then Grant, women's soccer. What do we got going?
Yeah, women's soccer, they were so close to winning. Western Carolina scored late. Western Carolina, the favorite in the conference this year. Samford's right there at number 2, number 3. They drew against Western Carolina at home 2-2, and then they beat Chattanooga on Sunday 2-0. Samford hasn't lost a match since August 24th against Alabama. That includes 4 wins and 3 ties. He had 3 ties, 2-0 back-to-back last week. They're at Wofford this weekend on Friday, and then they're at home for Citadel next Thursday. Sam DeLuca scored again for Samford. She leads Samford in goals, scored with 5. She's from Little Rock, Arkansas, my hometown, so good to see her in there with leading Samford in goals. So wanted to point that out, Little Rock showing out. But yeah, 5 goals for her in 10 games played, and a leading Samford goal scorer, Martha Bishop and Brooklyn Miller, who's scored. Miller scored on Sunday. They each have 2 goals.
Yeah, I just looked up the leading goal scorer. Looks like Reagan Fitzgerald has 8 for ETSU. Pretty crazy.
Dog.
And then Mercer, Chat, Furman, and then Samantha's 7th in the conference with 5 total. But I have no idea what the pre or non-conference looked like for those other squads. So we'll see. Obviously, one of the best scorers in the conference. It's always good to have. But let's get to Wofford. Easily took until today, Monday, took the college basketball mid-major world by storm as Wofford let go of their coach. But Grant, Mike, walk us through what happened.
No, I was going to say I don't think anybody really knows because none of it makes sense. Wofford's athletic director released a statement today that just confused people even more. But
Yeah,
um, by the sound of it, Wofford fired Dwight Perry over an $84 worth of CAF credits. Grant, is that pretty accurate to you?
Yeah, that sounds right. There was that which the NCAA or it's weird because Wofford said the NCAA was investigating and they suspended players. NCAA, which they never do, put out a statement on their Twitter account said we have no infractions at this school. So Wofford basically self-imposed their own infractions over CAF credits, like you said, and then a whole housing situation where they were wanting to move off campus, but they didn't have the money for it. So the coaches were trying to pay the rent for the players. But then allegedly the volleyball players complained and said, why can basketball live on campus and live off campus and we can't? So that started a whole thing. So yeah, basically just finding ways to get rid of Dwight Perry, who just won the SoCon tournament this past year.
yeah, they were
Yeah, it
just in the
sounds like
tournament.
it sounds like they had promised the players upperclassmen housing, which I mean, Sam, you know, the Wofford upperclassmen housing is very nice compared to their lower class or underclassmen housing. But
It is
they got to
very good.
campus, didn't have space for them, and so the coaches offered the players to either move off campus or live in underclassmen housing, and so the players moved off campus, and then somehow the cafeteria card that they use was only applicable to on campus housing, and so they were
Yeah.
swiping for meals, which they
Yeah.
could technically use. It's all very confusing, but like Grant said, they self-reported. A couple players were apparently suspended. Not a couple. 6 players were apparently suspended.
6 players. And then a
Pretty good for the
lawyer.
team.
And then a lawyer was like, who's from Charleston, who wears like button-down shirts and a bow tie. Look him up. It's pretty wild. You can Google Wofford
Yes, he
lawyer.
looks like the lawyer you don't want on your case, but
Exactly. One of those personal injury guys, and he apparently had said that. Yeah, and he said that he had like repped the whole team and I say like 12 guys have decided that we're going to sit out and we're going to go in the portal unless they reinstate Perry. That turns out that was a whole mess. Like 24 hours later, said, oh no, we're just joking. We're not going to hold out. So they do this. They promote assistant, their second assistant, because their lead assistant was also canned with Perry to be the interim coach. But then they decided, no, we don't want him to do the interim for this year. We're going to go get Virginia Tech's assistant coach, whose name slips my mind, who played at Wofford, was on Mike Young's staff at Wofford, is on Mike Young's staff at Virginia Tech. They're going to go hire him, Kevin Giltner. There you go, to be their new head coach. So yeah, it's a whole mess. They decided to go out of the team and he could do head coach. It's all very confusing. Why? I don't know why they decided to do this, but
It felt political from the beginning. Like anytime you
right.
see any kind of small, tiny infraction blown up to this level of consequence, it's always political. Short-haired dogs, which is frankly an annoying Wofford site, and very at times infuriating Twitter
I have him muted. So.
account. Yeah, same. Um, but I was curious to see because they're pretty clued into the goings-ons in Wofford or at Wofford, and they were kind of alluding to, or they tweeted explicitly that Naif Samat, the president, was trying to get. Well, he was the one behind the Wofford to D3 talk that we heard after last season, especially with the court, the house settlement this past summer, and that this was a quote unquote parting gift. I don't know if I buy that because the AD still has to have some kind of power, um, but that was one little wrinkle that I could kind of believe because someone obviously did not want Dwight Perry coaching this team.
Right.
He succeeded. He went to the tournament. That's all you can ask, and they
got
can him
built up.
over nothing.
Yeah, build himself out for winning the SoCon tournament, basically. And I guess where Wofford football play this weekend?
Virginia Tech.
They played at Virginia Tech, which just so happened to hire Virginia Tech assistant on Monday afternoon.
And rumor also has Virginia Tech might be hiring Dwight Perry as an assistant, so a little swapperoo. UCLA and Tennessee trading quarterbacks, Virginia Tech and Wofford trading coaches.
Yeah,
AD's already up there at the game at Virginia Tech. Doesn't have the funding to go on a recruiting trip, so he just says, "Hey, I know a guy."
Low hanging fruit.
I guess we'll just talk about it this weekend when we're up at your place, checking out, having dinner. I guess we'll just go over to Giltner's place and get him to go sign a deal and come down to Spartanburg.
But
I mean, Dwight Perry, like he did, well, first of all, was it 3 years ago that there was kind of a weird situation with Wofford's then current coach, players refused to play for him, so he got let go. Dwight Perry was the interim, gets hired full time, and he's been okay. I mean, granted, this past season, yes, they made the tournament. They were kind of middle of the pack of the SoCon, weren't the best team, and they had a team full of seniors. So they lost their entire team, and if that's the best you can do with a team full of a very experienced team, they had some good players in the team. Maybe he's not a long term play, but yeah, just made the tournament.
Crazy.
And then did we say that the press release from the president of the university or the AD today
said that he resigned.
Dwight Perry resigned.
Yeah. so what? No.
So good. It's so good.
Yeah, even Perry put out a statement. He didn't say anything out of the order. He said, "I just thank you there. Never easy to say goodbye." Whole thing you can go find. But yeah, that was wild reading that. One thing you get out of the release they threw up right when the Bruce Pearl news was happening, when he decided to retire, they put out that release at the same time. They decided that Perry had resigned and said, I'm pretty sure you guys fired him. There's no way he's just resigning after winning a conference tournament.
I mean, the disappointing thing about this is especially in a time where Power 4 football schools, like if you aren't one of those schools, everything is up in the air. You would want all of your conference members to at least have some semblance of normalcy and stability in their, from a university and especially athletic program perspective. And Wofford has none of that, which is concerning. Hopefully Tennessee Tech, if worst came to worst, does well if Wofford does decide to go D3. Doesn't sound like they are since Samad is on his way out, but just an interesting situation that is not nearly over. Because I don't even know if Wofford's announced who the new president's going to be. They just decided to not re-sign Samad, if I'm even saying his name right. But
Man, at the same time they fired Perry this year, they had the same same timing around the McCauley incident, like Mike mentioned 3 years
Yeah,
ago. The
that's
guy
right.
like
Right before the
literally
season.
right before the season, unless you're Auburn and you do a succession plan on the first day of official practice.
Yeah, so let's end with that. Let's end with Auburn. Nepotism is alive and well as they have anointed Stephen Pearl to be the next head coach. Grant, has he been a head coach anywhere at any level before?
No, he has not. He's not been a head coach. He went from player to sales rep to assistant to now head coach of one of the teams that's been in the Final Four, Elite Eight last few years.
Michael, is Auburn a good basketball program?
Bruce Pearl's a good basketball coach, and he made Auburn a good basketball program.
Yeah, there you
But
go.
I don't
Yeah.
know that you
Yeah.
can say that Auburn has much history outside of Bruce Pearl and Charles Barkley.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
Okay,
um,
so why the high risk succession plan?
do
I'm
you
all
think
for a
Bruce
succession
Pearl?
plan.
Do you think Bruce Pearl intentionally waits till the very start of the season to
For
retire?
sure.
So they have no choice but to promote his own son into head coach
Well, they
For
not only
sure.
promoted him, they
position.
signed him to a 5-year deal.
Yeah,
Right. Yeah, and there's at least no debate. Like if you did this March, okay, we can at least debate going to someone Bucky McMillan from Samford, and then we can go and decide. And hey, we'll decide this. Pearl part. Stephen probably gets the job anyway, but still, Bruce definitely did this to tease a Senate run, say I'm not going to do it, and then do that. He did an interview with John Rothstein a few weeks ago. He's like, I don't know how much time I have left, guys. I don't know if I'm going to coach that like after this year or something. Then sure enough, first day of practice, we get this news this morning.
Yeah.
but he's not.
It's
He's not making a Senate run, at least not now, because he's been hired into a full time ambassador role for Auburn.
The
So
ambassador. He said he's going to be Auburn senator. Is the way he put it. So
he will definitely be running for the U.S. Senate. There's without a doubt. Why else
yeah,
would you do this? Why else would you give up an all? You have built a program from the ground up. I mean, Auburn was a not even they were as low as Vanderbilt football before Clark Lee. So I this is just crazy. It's crazy. And the fact that you don't want to protect the momentum he built by hiring a top end coach and you hire his son, it's odd.
so if
it
he doesn't,
depends on who they lose. I don't know who they have coming back. Is Pettiford coming back? He's kind of their guy.
yeah,
Well,
he's the
they're
only one. He's the only one coming back basically from last year that everybody else has gone. Their star transfer JP Pegues is gone as well. So you got that work going
he's in
on
the
there.
league, baby.
And then yeah, so maybe Pearl struggles in 3 years, 4 years, like the successor for
In
Villanova
three,
did,
4 years, brother, they're going to be looking for the buyout clause that they just crafted up last night in about 8 months when
and then
Auburn finishes 10th in the SEC.
and
So,
then get and then go get Texas A&M's head coach to be their new head coach.
I mean, look, I'll eat my words if this guy turns out to be good, but there are so many good coaches out there that they could have gotten, and they went with this. It's not
I
even
think
low hanging fruit. It's like the fruit on the ground.
this year they'll be fine because the roster's already set. But then it's the years after. Can he
Well, the
build a
portal,
roster?
yeah, but Grant, that's the thing. I mean, if you're a freshman, you can redshirt. You can just leave, redshirt.
Yeah, but
You
guys are
may
going to
even,
leave right now, though. Unfortunately, or not unfortunately, but
You're throwing a year of your life away because you can't. You can't. Can you start practicing with the team until the spring?
oh, I'm sure.
This
In this
semester's already
new
started.
world, I mean, I don't know. I don't know.
yeah, I don't know that. But yeah, like no one really has spots right now. But I'm sure they could create one for NIL money. But I doubt anybody of substance leaves. The same thing with Wofford. You're not going to go unless it's down to D2 or D3. But again, the portal is available to you for the next 30 days with coaching changes. So who's to say really?
Yeah, they could transfer to Wofford.
Does a team of Wofford and Auburn transfers win a tournament game?
Just flips. They flip.
We can find out.
Do we think Martin Newton approached Stephen Pearl about Stanford's opening? I mean, do you think he's
I mean,
even
I'm sure
worth
he was on a
a
list.
call?
I don't think he would. Not saying that Samford is over. He would be underqualified for a Samford job, but it's hard to say.
Yeah, I'm sure he's on the list, even though he went to ACUF pretty quick after the Bucky
Yeah.
news drop. So I'm sure he was.
Acuff is much more qualified.
Yes,
Oh,
for sure.
absolutely.
For
Bucky,
But
sure, yeah.
I
Bucky
mean, I
was
don't know.
arguably more qualified.
I think Stephen would have gotten a bigger opportunity than Stanford, or an equal opportunity elsewhere, if not for Auburn. I mean, he was considered. I think he's been considered for the last couple of years as one of the most biggest up and coming young coaches. So
Yeah, I'm sure he's on a list for sure.
Yeah, definitely got a call. Anything else?
40 when this drops, 40 days until basketball.
Can't get here soon enough, and that's the
seriously,
only second time I've said that. First time was last year.
19 until the exhibition game at Battle Auditorium against Alabama A&M, and then Tulane November 3rd. So
Boom.
almost there.
Boom. All right, boys. Got Furman coming up. Please beat the Dens. First win of the season. Here we go. Let's go. Go Dogs. Stay the Bulldogs is out.